Hi there, it's Kelly, and recently it was Quitter's Day. January 9th is the day where the majority of people will quit their New Year's resolutions. And that means out of 365 days this year, most people get 2% into the new year before they give up. The whole new year, new me doesn't last all that long. And there's a famous story that business coaches love to tell, usually on the stage when they're all done up with makeup and lights and they've got the cameras on them, about a miner who's panning for gold or digging for oil or somehow looking for their wealth and riches. And they give up. And they give up just an inch before they break through and hit oil, or just a few feet down from where that big nugget of gold is in the stream. And business coaches like to tell this story to encourage perseverance. Now, the side effect of that is they're usually telling the story to convince you to keep paying them money to invest in your business so that you don't give up before you strike it rich, so they get richer. But I think it's a good thing to reflect on where you give up before reaching your goal and how long you hold on to that goal before you decide to change it up or give it up. Now, there's nothing wrong with quitting as is. There are a lot of things that we say we're going to do that we don't end up doing. I mean, when I was like 7 years old, my dream job was to work in a bakery and decorate cakes. I don't know where that came from. When I was in high school, it was to be a doctor. I didn't end up doing that. So it's okay to quit things along our lives, but if there is something that you care about and you care about enough that it's been on your mind for a long time, but you just can't seem to get progress, think about why you're giving up and maybe other areas or examples in your life where this is happening. One of the ways that you can actually reach your goal, and it's not very sexy, and it is something that not a lot of people were encouraged because they like big and flashy, is to shrink down your goal until it's so small and your progress is so minor that you can't even brag about it. It doesn't feel like you're making progress, even though I promise you are. And here are some examples. Don't say, I'm going to run a marathon this year. I'm going to run a mile. Start by running for 1 minute. It's one of those things like you wouldn't go on Instagram and be like, 1 minute down, folks, but do it anyways. Instead of saying, I'm going to read 100 books this year, decide that today you're going to pick up a book and read 10 pages, just 10, not even a whole chapter for some of these books. Don't say, I'm going to declutter my entire house from top to bottom in like 30 days or some crazy deadline. Just pick 5 things that you could toss or donate today. And this applies to your business goals as well. If you have a company or you're working for a business and you have goals, shrink those down. Now, maybe your boss won't like that, but it will get you moving and making progress. So let's say that you own a company and someday you want to make $1 million a year. Great. We're in January. You got to start making that million. Have you made $83,000 this month? No. Well, instead of saying, I'm going to make $1 million this year, say, today I'm going to pitch 3 potential clients. Instead of, I want to have 100,000 people following me on Instagram, start with a goal such as, I'm going to engage my followers 4 times a week. So pretty much every other day, I'm going to be on those accounts, engaging with the people who follow me, because you might just realize that 100,000 followers is just a vanity metric, and you could have a lot fewer followers, better relationships, more sales. You could change up goals to like, I want to close that investor seed funding round with something such as, I'm going to rehearse my pitch every single day. Now, I don't know if you've heard this story. It's kind of a fun math problem of, would you rather have $100,000 or a penny that gets tripled every day for 30 days? And a penny doesn't seem like a lot, but if you put it into Excel and did the math, if you triple a penny every day for 30 days, on the 30th day, you have 5.3 million. And you can talk about compound interest. You can talk about, how valuable it is to scale. But the point is, you can start small and grow to something big. Now, I know that growth is not linear. I think it'd be a much harder thing to decide if that penny was going to triple some days and stay the same other days and go down other days. It's kind of like the stock market. If you look at it over time, there are definite trends, but on a day-to-day basis, hour to hour, there's a lot of bumps along the way. So when you think about your progress, you are not an overnight sensational stock. You are not a pump and dump scheme when it comes to something like, Bitcoin style investing. You are, and your life is a long term investment. I mean, you hope very long term, right? You don't just want to optimize for what will feel good right now. Because, yeah, it might feel good to declutter your house in half an hour and throw all your stuff outside, but that's not long term going to serve you. One of the things that shrinking your goals down and making really small progress does is it builds up two things. First is your discernment muscle, is making hard choices and being okay with risk. Hey, I'm going to throw this thing away and I might regret it, but I'm going to be okay with that because I can do hard things. Or I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to lift 2-pound weights. Even if it makes me feel weak, I'm going to do it and prove to myself that I'll be okay the next day. I'm not dying in bed. So when you are starting small and doing something consistently, you build that discernment and you build the habit or the routine or, habit stack, whatever you want to call it. But a lot of times we invest our time, energy, money in big blobs. So you got $1,000 for your birthday and then you spent it and got that new camera instead of saving $20 a week for 6 months and getting the camera yourself. Or, hey, I'm getting ready to go to that reunion next week. I'm going to go to the gym and work out 3 hours a day and somehow think that's going to make up for 20 years of sedentary lifestyle. Doesn't work that way. But we like to think that way. And most importantly, marketers like to sell us that magic bullet. Hey, all you need to do is this one thing for 20 minutes, or this chair exercise, or this one investment, or this weird pill, and all your problems will be solved in a crazy short time period. And we fall for it because we would love it to be true. I would love to do a one-time investment and have all my problems go away. Are you kidding me? But the reality is, it's the habit. It's the small routine that gets established and then can grow. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for a 2-mile run every day, but I am saying that if you haven't done that for 10 years, or you've had on your to-do list like work out more, run a marathon for a couple years, if you start with the end goal on day one, you try to cram it all in and prove you can do it, you will likely fail. And that's nothing against you. That's just how we build routine and habit that makes sense. If you can prove to yourself that you can run for 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes a day and do that for months, eventually you're going to build the habit, the ritual, and the muscle, the stamina to get to a 5K or longer. Same thing with reading books. There's a big conversation right now about how our short-term memories have been co-opted by social media. And if you have a 7-second, YouTube short or a 13-second TikTok and you feel like, oh, this is taking forever, you realize you don't have a long attention span. Now try to get people to read an article, a book, an essay, something that's longer and requires attention. So if you say to yourself, well, I'm going to do different. I'm going to read 100 books this year or 50 books, whatever the number is. And you go from allowing yourself to be distracted by every bright, shiny thing to, I'm going to sit down and read for 3 hours, you'll find yourself failing. So it was Quitter's Day. I hope that you quit doing your habits the wrong way and you start looking at your goals as something really small that you can grow over time and as an investment that might take years or decades, but is worth the effort.